Hi everyone, I just thought I would do a quick video here on just how I'm using Topaz Denoise AI in my post-processing. I've put a few videos out already, but I just got back from Ecuador shortly ago, and one of the mornings I was down shooting in a bug blind where they put some lights and there's lots of insects that get attracted, and then of course birds come and eat them in the morning. I had this beautiful montane wood creeper come in and grab this cool looking moth. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of light to work with, and so I had to shoot this image at ISO 1600, which on my Canon 7D Mark II is a bit of a stretch sometimes. So if we zoom in here, we can see, it's not bad. It's certainly in focus, but, we definitely have a fair bit of noise. Everyone's noise threshold is different, but this is, for me, I knew that I could get away with this because of the software that I have. So again, Topaz Denoise AI is absolutely worth checking out for everybody, and I think that most people will indeed benefit from purchasing it. So let's take a look at how I would process this image. I have integrated Topaz Denoise AI into my workflow. So I have other videos talking about writing actions and how I like to use those, so I'm not going to get hugely into that. For now, I'm just going to play the action and kind of walk you through it. So I hit play. Right away, it makes a new layer and it launches us out into Topaz Denoise AI. And if we take a look here, I'll just move it so we can kind of see the most pertinent part of the image. This is our before over here on the left, and this is our after. And you look at even the default settings, I mean, I don't even think I need to make any changes. You can see how incredibly well it masks around even these delicate little feathers and all. Look at even the moth. Like, try to make that selection on your own in Photoshop and do a better job than this program. Highly unlikely, unless you are a Photoshop aficionado. Anywho, I think we're fine. We don't even need to change anything from the defaults. I'll just go ahead and say save. And it just processes away depending on how good your graphics card is. That will dictate how long it takes. Mine's okay, not great, so it takes a little bit here, but not too bad. Now we see in the action I've written myself to mask as needed. So basically what I often do is I go in here and I see if I look at the before and after, so that's the before and that's the after. Again, you notice, look at even the eye, how good of a job it did on removing the noise from the eye and yet not destroying the detail in the bird itself. So if I felt like it had gotten too sharp, or maybe that it had did an area or missed an area or something like that, then I could come in here and mask the change back out. But in this case, I think it's done quite a good job. So I'm just going to go ahead and proceed with the action as I normally would. So I'm going to hit play, it flattens it down, opens up a levels adjustment. So here I'm just trying to make sure that I have like the white point right. I can see if I do that, I'll start to lose a bit of the detail on the moth's wings, but for me I don't think that's a big deal. Black point, not sure we need to pinch it in much. And the midtones are always important to check in with. So we just sort of try to dial that in how we like the look of it. That looks good to me. Again, the number doesn't matter. I'm just looking at the image on my calibrated monitor and making sure that it looks good. If we wanted to, if we felt like it was distracting from the image, these few little parts that got too white on the moth, we could mask those out, but honestly, I don't care. It's not going to detract from the image. There's no point. So another way we could deal with that was just to deal with the highlights a little bit. I don't think we need to do much here because there's nothing shadowy that's too dark and there's nothing that's too bright. Hue and saturation. Now here's one where it's kind of a situation where I wouldn't mind adding a little more saturation to the bird and the moth, like kind of like it is now. But I'm not crazy about the saturation on this background. It looks too much. So if I pick the yellows, and I can see what that's going to actually include, which I don't want it to include all this red bit. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to really expand it out into the greens. And then I could dial back the saturation, so I could knock it back a little ways on just the green parts. Another way you could do that would be to do it as a separate layer and desaturate the whole image, and then just layer mask the bird back out so that it goes back to normal. But here we see kind of where we want to be. What I'll do here actually is go back in the history, and then we can really see the difference there. So that was before, and you see the green is really a bit too much, and now I've just knocked it back a little bit. So that is good. And then we'll just check in with contrast, and that looks pretty good to me. Save the file. I think I'll just save it on the desktop. And there we go. So that just shows, I'll zoom in again here, and if we go back to where we started, pretty noisy, could use some contrast tweaks and a bit of things, and then we get to there. Much better background, and overall, just an image that pops a little bit more than the original flat image that we had. So again, if I told you that I shot this at ISO 1600 with a 7D Mark II, you may or may not believe me, but with good processing and amazing software, you can get some great results. So I hope you found something useful here. Thanks for watching, and do check out Topaz Denoise AI. I'll put a link down below and a promo code. And yeah, if you're interested in learning more about post-processing, feel free to check out my ebooks. I've done several on processing. If you're just getting started, get the Guide to Post-Processing Simplified. And then if you want to add on new skills and learn different little things, then you can check out the Process with Me modules. That's where you download some of my photos and you watch an associated YouTube video just like this, where you can actually process right along with me with the exact same photo, one of my photos, and you can do it by watching the video and processing along with me. So I hope you found this useful. Thanks so much. We'll see you again soon. Bye.